I have never faked my accent. I think people, when I first came on MTV, people found it really hard to deal with the fact that my English was so good with an accent. और कि मेरी हिंदी भी इतनी अच्छी थी. So it was like, नहीं, अगर इसकी हिंदी इतनी अच्छी है तो ये English वाला accent fake होगा. They could not understand, but I was like, I am born and brought up in England. I studied in Paris. And मेरे घर में उर्दू बोली जाती थी हमेशा से, तो वो मेरा influence था हमेशा.
Right.
So I've never faked it. In fact, I remember having a conversation with Ritik about this once. And he was like, you have a global accent. होंठों पे ऐसी बात मैं दबा के चली आई, खुल जाए वो ही बात तो दुहाई है दुहाई. होंठों पे ऐसी बात मैं दबा के चली आई, खुल जाए वो ही बात तो दुहाई है दुहाई.
Hi Sophie, welcome
Hi.
to News 18.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
So we're going to talk about your latest single, which is Lips.
Yes.
Right. Can you tell me what made you want to recreate this iconic number? This out of everything.
I want to make it really clear that I was very determined after the success of my last song, Gori Hai, which was Gori Hai Kalaiyan. I was very determined to do a pure original song, which is what I've been working on. And then Saregama came into my life and they said, before you release your next song, how about doing this? And they presented me with a couple of options and they said, we really think you could do an amazing job with this. And one of the choices was Honton Pe Aisi Baat, which is, like you said, such an iconic song.
Yes.
And a very scary one. But we were very clear that we'll adapt it. So the entire song, which is Lips, is original. Lyrically, musically, the composition, everything is original except for this hook line. So we decided to take on the challenge, and I realized that the original Honton Pe is, like you said, iconic and very complex.
Yeah.
It has a lot of twists and turns. It has, of course, a very strong desi rhythm. It has several melodies. And so we just wanted to keep the hook line and create something around it. And I think Rahi and Ardas, who worked on the song, did an amazing job.
Yes. So what's the update like on the original music album? Is it an album or a single?
Well, it will be like at least 3 songs. So more like an EP rather than an album, because even though I come from a time where we used to create 8-song albums, I don't know if those necessarily work anymore. I don't think people have the patience so much. And as an artist, it's really heartbreaking to create that many songs and then not have people always listen to a full album. So an EP for sure. There'll definitely be a few songs. And anyway, right now, you're going to hear 1 song a month for the next few months. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Good for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so like you said, there was Gori Hai. It went on to do so well.
Yes.
And, while there's a whole lot of conversations happening about, remakes and recreations, I mean, you have, successfully given us so many of those, songs. What do you think really, Sophie, is the mantra to a successful recreation, let's say?
I mean, honestly, if I had an answer to that, every song I ever did would be a huge hit. But I don't think anyone has the answer to that. I think there's 2 things that I always try. That's one, to kind of retain the integrity of the original somehow, but also really to create an original song around it, so that you're somehow connecting to like people who know the original and people who don't know it at all.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. It's something I never realized, which people made me realize, that there's a whole generation of people who probably don't know Honton Pe Aisi Baat.
Really?
Which is amazing, because I realize it now that so many people think that Ik Pardesi is my song, completely original. They don't know कि 1950s में एक black and white गाना आया था ऐसा. उनको सिर्फ मेरा ही पता है कि एक परदेसी सोफी चौधरी का गाना है जो हमने सुना था 2000s में. They don't know कि वो उससे 50 साल पहले एक version आ चुका था. So sometimes that does happen. So I think when I try to create it, I definitely try to keep the nostalgic vibe and add a modern touch. Having said that, like, I find it really weird to see every single movie only having remixes. Because I feel like in movies, at least, they should be creating originals. I think what was really special about that particular era, when there was a lot of remakes and remixes, was that they were in the pop space, in the non-film space. So when songs like Kaliyon Ka Chaman or Kanta Laga, Ik Pardesi, Babu Chal Chabila, when they were coming, they had a very unique pop sound.
Yeah.
And the music videos were pop videos. So it was not that you were seeing them coming in movies, which is what you see now. So nowadays it feels like every second song is a remake.
Yeah.
That was not happening then. And I think with my songs, I always try and make sure that they sound more pop than film. There's a very specific sound and a very specific vibe, which I try to give.
Yeah. So, collabs have become like this recent thing, There are so many indie artists, up and coming ones, and they're doing some great work. I'm sure you'll agree. Is there any one or two, musicians you would want to collaborate with?
No, like you said, I think there's so many amazing, talented people that especially like the Gen Zs are really connecting with, whether it's Anuv or whether it's Anuv Jain or Kuhar or, all of these kind of amazing people. Oaf, I really like. I love their sound. I love their vibe. I think they do some really cool stuff. So I'm always open to collaborating with anybody who has a good song. Finding a good song is the hard part. Anybody who comes to me with a good song, I would love to work with them. I would love to even work with Yo-Yo, because the funny thing about Yo-Yo is that he has a lot of actresses and girls featuring in his videos, but he very rarely collabs with female singers.
That's right.
Badshah still does a lot of collabs with various people, but Yo-Yo doesn't do it that often. I think it would be fun to collab with him.
Yeah, I think you performed with him a while
back.
back.
We performed it recently in Dubai at Coca-Cola Arena.
That's right.
And we have a really lovely vibe whenever we meet, and I think he's wonderful, and he's an OG in his own right.
That's true.
So I think it would be fun. I'm an OG in my way, he's an OG in his. For us to come together would be fun.
Yeah. So, Sophie, of course, there are live gigs that constantly keep happening, which we see, on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Can you take us a little through Sophie's riyaz? How does she do it? What's your way of staying connected with music?
Obviously, we, as a singer, and especially a lot of people say, we don't get to see you on screen that much. That's because I'm doing so many live shows, like you said. My riyaz, of course, entails a regular riyaz, which is all my scales and warm-ups and everything. For my shows, I rehearse a lot with my live band, which is so much fun because I've got percussion, dhols, guitars, drums, singers, everything. And of course, I have dancers because I love to dance in my shows. So it's a fully choreographed, high-energy show. I think my riyaz also entails staying fit, because 2 hours of live singing and dancing is what my show is. And we don't lip sync, it is live. So staying fit is important, taking care of your voice is important, and rehearsing with your team. I think that's really what my riyaz is about.
That's lovely. I am also reminded of Sunidhi Chauhan. She's become this, rock star now. She was
always a rock star.
Yeah, I mean, now she's performing.
But she was always performing. I think it's really funny when people say, Sunidhi has become a rock star. She always was. She was always doing stage shows. She took a little bit of a sabbatical to, have a kid and take some time out. She may not be getting as many film songs today as she used to get, because there are fewer songs for women. And, so many of them are remixes anyway. But the fact is that she was always a performer. Maybe today at this point in her life, as with age, comes more confidence and comes more wisdom. And maybe she's really now performing the way she wants to. Or maybe there's been a bit of an image makeover. But Sunidhi was always a performer. This is nothing new. This is just social media creating this hype of the return of Sunidhi. Kahin gayi nahi thi, wo wahin pe thi. Just, in this industry, we all have to reinvent ourselves and rework ourselves. That doesn't mean that we went anywhere. It just means that we're honing our skills, and maybe we're acquiring new skills. Or maybe we're doing things that we were not doing before. Or we've reinvented ourselves. Doesn't mean we went anywhere. So, I also messaged her and I said, I'm so happy to see you truly doing what you love.
What about you? Are you doing any film music, any film songs anytime soon?
I have done a film song, which should be out soon. And you'll also see me in a movie next month, which should be fun.
Yes, I was coming to that.
Yeah, which should be fun. So that's something I haven't done in a while. This was just a fun thing to do with a director that I'm really honored to have worked with. I have no idea what it's going to be like, but it should be a fun role and something that people will enjoy seeing me in.
Yeah, but like you said, Sophie, the dearth of songs for women in films especially. Is that also why you have been missing from the film music scene?
I was never in the film music
Yeah,
scene.
but on and off, you...
Never. I've
You
never...
did Befikre, I think.
That for my friends Vishal Shekhar and whatever. But even that was, it was mainly Benny's song and stuff. For me, the path has been very different because when I came into this industry, I was a pop star. And pop voices were not used in films.
That's right, back then.
It was really at that time more Sunidhi, Shreya and a few other people who were doing, who were singing, and there wasn't really space for different kind of voices. When the space opened up for different voices, by then I was acting myself. So people did not want to approach me to sing for anybody else because they were like, ye to khud hi acting kar rahi, ye to apne liye gaegi, like I did in Pyar Ke Side Effects.
Yeah.
So if you actually look at it, I've never done playback. I've sustained myself and my career purely on my own songs.
Yeah.
Which is not easy to do across so much time. Films have such a huge reach that if you get a couple of playback songs that are huge hits, it can change the path of your career. That never happened for me. So my niche and my success story is very different to everybody else's. And I'm very proud of it in that way. So it's not a choice to be missing, okay, there's fewer female songs. I mean, the girls who are playback singers are getting fewer songs anyway.
That's right.
Let alone the girls who never did playback.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But did you miss that, euphoria that sometimes playback singers get after they have a, massive hit? Did you ever miss that?
But I want to tell you something. There's very few playback singers that people recognize by face. Yeah. I mean, most of the playback singers that we recognize by face are people from my era anyway, be it the Shans, Sunidhis or the Shreyas. And now, yes, you will have Arijit, of course. And there's like a Jubin and a few more. But by and large, most people do not recognize playback singers, which is one of the reasons when I came from England, I had that very pop mentality, which was, main hi apne gaane mein aaungi because I am the face of my song. Yes, of course, having a successful song can make a difference as long as people recognize you also.
Yeah.
Very often, the credit of a film song goes to the actor.
Very true.
ये कार्तिक का गाना है, ये वरुण का गाना है, ये कियारा का गाना है. But वो गाना किसने गाया? आपको पता है, if I ask you off the cuff like that, कि who sang that song, you will not know most of the time. Very rarely will you know. Shilpa Rao has now got a unique voice and she's so associated with doing certain kind of songs.
Yeah.
And she's wonderful. But if she was walking down the street, would you necessarily recognize her? No.
I would, because I do keep
You're
a
part
tab
of the
on
industry.
music.
But with the masses,
Yeah.
not
That's
always,
true.
because the credit will go with Deepika ka gana tha, Besharam Rang. Then you will think. Only people
Largely,
who really
yes.
love music and singers will you actually make it a point to go out and see. And that is a battle that has always been there, which is something Western singers never had to deal with.
Yeah.
So that is always there. So do I miss Euphoria? Yes. Would I have loved like a killer song, shot on Deepika or Kareena or any of Priyanka? Would I have loved it? Yes, because for the fact that I love Hindi movies.
Yes.
I would love my song to be in a Hindi movie. I would love it to be on the big screen and seen that way. For that reason, yes. Would it have altered the course of my career? I don't know that for sure. Because somehow I made my own unique space.
Absolutely, and kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like you're saying, I'm sure you cannot reveal much about your acting project. Can you?
No, I can't.
Okay.
It's not even like, it's something different. It's something I've not done, and it's going to be really fun to be part of a film like this because it in itself is I think going to be quite a rage. So I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see what happens with that.
But we have seen you in bits and parts, in movies. There was Shadi Number 1.
Oh, that was my debut.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, small, here and
Pyar
there.
Ke Side Effects was a very big role,
one.
and that was important for
But
me.
weren't you ever bitten by the acting bug? Because there's so many friends also from the industry.
But I think it's a huge misconception that just because you have friends from the industry,
I don't mean
that'll
that.
influence you or help you.
Yeah.
Doesn't influence me. Just because I'm hanging with actors doesn't mean कि मुझे भी heroine बनने का भूत था. I was anyway a filmy bacha. Growing up in England, I was anyway obsessed with Lolo and Govinda and like these typical masala movies. I absolutely loved all of it. Did I want to act more? Of course, when I got the opportunity, it was a dream. And would I have wanted to do much more work? Yes, I would have. But I was not able to because I came already with this image of being a very successful VJ, a pop star. And for most movie producers and directors, it was too much. I already had an image and I was already popular. So they could not see beyond that. Beyond Sophie being a glam doll and adding value to our movie with a song or her glamorous image, they could not see past it. So after doing that for a while, a few opportunities like Pyar Ke Side Effects was amazing, and one or two more, and I had a wonderful role in a movie called Alibag with Sanjay Gupta, which never got released. But barring that, you were pretty much put in the same box. So after a point, you were like, do I really want to be doing this?
Yeah.
Because I am somebody who has definitely more value than that.
Sure.
But people need to see that.
Yeah.
So would I have liked to have done a lot more acting? Yes, if I was given the right opportunities. But if I was not, then I was very okay to charter my own course and do my own thing.
Which you did.
Yeah, which I think I had to.
Yeah.
To survive and to stay relevant and to make my own space. At the end of the day, this is an industry which is tough. And I've seen so many people come and go.
Yeah.
So to be able to be someone who could multitask and be a very successful host and be a very successful live singer performer and to be seen in successful movies, be it a Shootout at Vadala or Once Upon a Time or whatever it was, in whatever space I was able to stay relevant and make my place. And I think that's something I'm very proud of. Yeah.
Yes, you should be. Before we wrap this one thing I want to know. So, you have spoken about, ageism. But, one thing that I remember, I think a while back, somebody had commented that why do you have a very Western accent? And you hit back saying that, I've grown up somewhere.
Yeah.
I've lived literally all around. What do you expect? I mean, you are usually not somebody to react to these trolls. But, what made you really, hit back really?
I actually do react to trolls now and again. I don't even remember this, to be honest. But somebody must have commented on it, but the fact is that I have never faked my accent. I think people, when I first came on MTV, people found it really hard to deal with the fact that my English was so good with an accent और कि मेरी हिंदी भी इतनी अच्छी थी. So it was like, नहीं, अगर इसकी हिंदी इतनी अच्छी है तो ये English वाला accent fake होगा. They could not understand, but I was like, I am born and brought up in England. I studied in Paris. And मेरे घर में उर्दू बोली जाती थी हमेशा से, तो वो मेरा influence था हमेशा.
Right.
So I've never faked it. In fact, I remember having a conversation with Ritik about this once, and he was like, "You have a global accent," and I was like, "Thank you, thank you."
It's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, because I'm someone who's lived and studied in various places, and also I've grown up watching American TV, and maybe that's also had an influence. But I've got my own accent, which I don't fake. When I go to England, they think it's not English enough. When I'm here, they think it's not Desi enough. I'm somewhere in the middle and I'm fine with it. So reacting to the troll, I don't remember why I did, but it was probably because the one thing I don't like being accused of is being fake. Because I've never been fake about anything in my life.
Yeah.
I'm very real. I am who I am. And I've never pretended to be anything else. So that's probably why I reacted. And ageism and all the rest of them, I'm not bothered by it at all.
No, more power to you. But, we'll do a very short segment. Now, this is something very different. I hope you have not done this before. So, this is for the Gen Z audience, your Gen Z fans. Okay,
Sure.
what we are going to do is we're going to walk down the memory lane.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick out certain things which you have done in your career that has really stood out, but not many people know about it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
And
sure.
things that you have been in news for.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
All right. And you have to tell us your experience doing them.
Okay.
So the first one is, I think, we don't know if it's true, but were you a backup singer to Alisha Chinoy?
So I wasn't a backup singer to her, but I recorded the backing vocals on Made in India when I was about 11.
11?
Yeah, I was 11 or 12 years old.
How was that like? So it says that you were a backup singer to playback singers Shweta Shetty and Alisha Chinoy.
Yeah, so my mentor, who I met at that time, was Bidu, who had created Aap Jaisa Koi and Disco Deewane, and he was coming up with the song Made in India. And he met my mom and said, I'm looking for girls who can sing in Hindi. I'm making a song called Made in India, and I need some chorus singers.
Okay.
so do you know anyone? And my mom said, well, my daughter can sing. And he said, send her over. And I went and I auditioned for him, and he loved my voice. And he told me, one day I'm going to launch you. But for now, will you sing backing vocals? I was a kid. I'd never been in a studio. And he had me do the backing vocals on these songs. And so I was not a backup singer to Alicia. I sang the chorus vocals on Made in India. So yeah, it's true.
Lovely. Wow. And you were just 11. Lovely. Okay. Your stint with Sansara.
That was my girl band. It was put together with the intention of being the first ever British Asian girl band who would sing English songs. But the record deal we got was in India. So the first song we released was a song called Ye Dil Sun Raha Hai, which the lyrics I wrote to. And the second song was Habibi. And both, we came and shot our videos in our college holidays. So first was Christmas holidays and then Easter holidays. And the songs went on to become very successful, but as a band, we could not last. We had very different visions and attitudes towards our work. And very sadly, we split up and we've never spoken since.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. But you guys were young also, I'm sure.
We were young. I was in college still. We were all young, but yeah, it was exhilarating when we were doing it, but very traumatic when we broke up. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Working on Befikri.
Oh, that my dearest friends Vishal and Shekhar called me in and they said, you speak French and you can sing in French and we need some lines and will you come and do it? And of course, I would do anything for them. So that's why I got to sing on that song. And
Ude Dil Befikri.
Yeah, Ude Dil Befikri. And then afterwards, I said to them, I should have been on Nashe Si as well because
of course.
That one. So I was like, you should. Lovely. They said we didn't remember that you sing French, and now we suddenly do. So we've called you. So,
lovely. Yeah. Okay. This one. This is very interesting. Okay, so when Sridevi congratulated you for being engaged, what happened?
It actually did happen. I'm a huge fan of Sridevi ma'am, and I was really blessed to spend time with her thanks to my friend Manish Malhotra. And I had a song coming out at that time called Sajan Main Nachungi. And as a media ploy, we put out a picture of me, because the theme of the video was a bachelorette.
Okay.
So we put out a picture of me laughing and with a ring and saying, I said yes, or something like that. And the next thing I know, my phone was going nuts and every media house was calling me and putting it on the front page that I was engaged without like verifying anything. It was just that Sophie's engaged. So when I met Sridevi ma'am at an event, she came and hugged me. She said, I'm so happy for you that you're engaged. And I was like, it's a song promotion. And she was like, what? I said, yes, it's a song promotion. But she was so sweet. She was like, I got so happy for you. I was like, thank you. Maybe I'll give you good news at a later date.
Oh, no. Well, that was fun. Okay, but before we let you go, can you sing a few lines?
Sure, you've made me speak so much. My throat is probably dry, but I
want some water before that.
I can do it.
Okay.
रखी बात दबा के दिल में कहीं सरेआम ना हो जाए, कहीं होंठों पर आना चाहे, बात होंठों पर आना चाहे, दिल हुए बेसबर मुझसे होवे ना सबर, जुबां पर मोटा सा ताला लगा के चली आई, होंठों पे ऐसी बात, होंठों पे ऐसी बात मैं दबा के चली आई, खुल जाए वो ही बात तो दुहाई है दुहाई, होंठों पे ऐसी बात मैं दबा के चली आई, खुल जाए वो ही बात तो दुहाई है दुहाई.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Sophie, and all the very best for everything that you do here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi everyone, this is Sophie Choudry and you're watching me on News 18.